Good day, wonderful listeners, and you're welcome to your darling station, the Living Radio 90.9. We're back again today, and today, in our deliberation in issues of the moment, we're going to briefly look at the finances as it concerns especially the third tier of government. We know before now that there are 3 tiers of government: the federal, state, and the local government. And it was also believed democratically that the local government was created as the third tier of government to help ease tensions and to make sure that politics gets to the grassroots. And as such, that is why, as at the time of creation, the local government had about 70% autonomy, including its finances. But recently, it is no more the way it has been, and terrible things are happening now. In the studio with me today, I have an experienced person, both in party politics, a lawyer and a philosopher who also is abreast with the happenings in the state. And that is St. Moses Obunna. St. Moses, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
St. Moses, recently, the finances of the local government, if you look around, we talked about so much touting, like the present government talked about touting and said this government will have no business with touts.
We were born in the First Republic, and we were able to see how the governments at that time were run. We were able to be in the right position to advise, tell you the difference between what was done then and what is being done now. You see, the governments these days are now being run majorly by politicians who have interest, personal and selfish interest to harvest. Nobody is any longer interested in the masses. Nobody is any longer interested in the government itself. That is why past administrations immediately after the military regimes, that is when we started seeing government of the contractors, by the contractors, and for the contractors, where everything that is done in the state, I want to limit it to Abia State. I want to say that even the eastern states, only very few states that you can see that have progressed and developed in line with other states. In Abia State, we have governments where one government will come in, and during the campaign we promise you, we condemn what the other government has been doing. You see that according to one politician, you cannot create your own human beings. You will now use them, and you will begin to do things the way they were doing it. What will be the difference is the way you have of the local government. You find out how the local government, what revenue they have made, and how these revenues have been spent. We saw them. Those things are no more. Everything is now determined by the state. The third tier is no more a third tier.
Okay, now talking about the revenues, and recently we also know that the local government, ranging from whether TC chairman or elected chairman or mayor, whatever they are called, now they don't have control of anything. I know when this third tier of the government was created, that the local government grade routes, they do too many things. In fact, the local government staff, they go about collecting their revenues and so on. But today it is no more that way. And when you get into the local government, you don't find the staff busy or doing anything. As a result of these, do I call it renting out of these revenues to individuals, just like you talked about the contractors. And then, what is the remedy to this?
You see, I think that the local government, the national bodies and the lawmakers, or the makers of our laws, have to look at the interpretation that is given to these laws, the Constitution, as it affects the local government. The Constitution of Nigeria guarantees democratically run local governments. When it guarantees it, it therefore means that everything that is done in the local government has to follow every other section of the Constitution that makes democracy working at the third tier. I do not see where it is possible for we to have democratically elected president, where the arms and organs of the government in the presidential realm are working in line with the Constitution. We come to the state, the same. When it comes to the local government, because the Constitution says that the state has to supervise the local government, does not mean that the state government has to take over the affairs of the local government. Because the Constitution says that the state government will have a joint allocation with the local government. Does not mean that the state government have been given the authority to run the accounts
of the local government.
Why it is joint is because they have to use that supervisory powers given to them to see that the allocations that come to the local government are dispensed by the local government authorities the way it ought to be. What happens now is that every revenue that the Constitution spelled out should be run by the local government has been taken over by the state. That is why we now see that tax collection is done by the state government. You will see that even our motor parks, the markets, everything that the local government has to do has been taken over by the state government. Therefore, every staff of the local government is now idle, does nothing, because there is nothing for them to do. What the local governments now do, when the allocation of 100 million comes at the end of every month, they now forward the salary vouchers to the state government, who will share the money or pay the money to the account of the staff as they feel, not as at when due. Now, you will see that the revenues that should come to the local government, which the local government chairman or transition chairman or mayors, as you put them, have to control, have the control to make, have the control to know how to dispense with it. It's no longer within the reach of the mayors. They are there as overseers of the local governments.
All right. We know that Buhari's administration, there's a platform, we discussed it severally. Buhari was so bent in making sure that the local government has autonomy, stands on its own, stands aloof of the state, and even created so. But unfortunately, most of the governors kicked against it. Most of the sitting governors then kicked against it. We also know that the tenure of the local government chairman and that of the state used to be the same until when the Abia state government started here, had to reduce it to 2 years by our then governor, Ojus Okalo, and until now it has remained so. Will this local government, the third tier of government, remain that way? Because the intention of creating the third tier government, which is the local government, is almost forfeited. What is the way forward?
The intention for the creation, if you look at the intention of the lawmakers, is to have a third tier of government where the rural masses will feel the impact of government.
Yes.
But because that the governors went to court and said that the autonomy granted by the local government should be supervised by them. And now they interpreted it and began to pack money to the people at the national level. You remember that the account of the local governments was being, the allocation of the local governments was being paid directly from the central bank to the local government. And the local government, I remember when Chinagrom Wamba was the governor, or was the chairman of Isialangwa South local government. The first thing he did was to change the signatories of the past chairman at the central bank. And the moment the money came in, it now came in by him sitting down as the chairman to disburse it. I also remember that day, you see tax collectors standing by the roadside. Okay, where you are taxed. If you don't have them, remove your shoe and you will pay. Be as it may that we do not like the brutal, the humiliating
aspect
system. Now that we have gone higher, that the system is we can now begin to say these are the number of houses in Abia. These are the number of workers in Abia. These are the number of establishments in Abia. When you have that data, like the past administration was doing, you can now have the number of shops in a particular market. You can have the number of shops in a particular street. You can have the number of people in the rural areas. You cannot begin to determine how much these people should pay as tax, as levies, as whatever income the government wants from them. You can now begin to, because of this data, eliminate multiple taxation system. That what the staff of the local government or of the state government need to do is to go and distribute demand notices. Oga, this place, or you're supposed to pay one levy or the other. They paste the demand notice. At the end of the time, you will be directed to one court, revenue court, or the other, where you go to pay. That is why the revenue courts are not working, because the contractors will not want it to work. The contractors will come and seize your product. Okay, look at the good policy of the government that trailers should not come into town within so period has been given to a contractor. And that contractor will now stop trailers even at the middle of the night in order to get his revenue. And that contractor is the government himself, sees himself as the government, and nobody will query him, because you have given him the authority to collect so much money or to pay so much money to you and then make his money. We were talking about touting, stopping vehicles on the road by the past administration, confiscating people's vehicles. The whole thing is back now, because the same people that were doing it then had gone to convince the government. I don't want to use the word conviction, has gone to confuse the government, because what they do is to confuse them. Use the same people that were in government, tell them how it is the home rat that tells the bush rat that fish that we used to eat, this is where it is kept. When they tell them like that, they behave like home rat. We want the government to set up a solid revenue platform, revenue planning, where people can know where to go and pay, so that that money will go direct into the coffers of the government. And when we talk about the government, the monies that should come to the local government should go to the local government, so that when you appoint a mayor, if you have a DC chairman, if you have an elected chairman, people can look at him and say, Oga, what is your program? What have you achieved? What have you done to these rural people to feel that there is government? Everything. The program of the state should be that of the state. That of the local government should be that of the local government, and that of the federal government should be that of the federal government. We used to have road gradings by the local government chairman. Do you know that when we were in the party, during the Ojos Okalu regime, every politician will have his voucher, jobbing order in his pocket. And that is what they used to patronize party people. It is not contract. Every party man will be given a road to grade. When they allocate a road for him, whether in his place, he will go and hire graders and grade it, and the government will pay him. The government of the local government will pay him. That is how he is. They are not giving contracts. They are not buying revenues. They are not buying anything. The moment we give these things to contractors, the workers will be idle. They will now rely on their location coming, and their locations are not adequate.
All right. It is obvious that the local government staff are basically doing nothing as we speak, because most of their responsibilities are absorbed by the state government via the contractors and so on. And then, do we now assume, or rather believe, that the local government should be wiped out, since the third tier of government is almost not functioning anymore?
If anybody goes to say that, begins to say that local government system should be wiped out, is it like that everywhere? There are areas the local government system is working, and the people there are very happy. If you say it should be wiped out, what of the areas that it is working? If you say it should be wiped out, how does the local people feel the impact of the government? Certainly there is a local government in place. All we are saying is that allow this local government to be functional. Allow the people of Omonglago to feel that there is local government. Allow them at the end of the month to go to the local government chairman and say, my son has a scholarship. Please help. Give me one thing or the other so that I can do to pay for the school fees of my son. The local health centers will be working. It is not the state government that should be doing all that. Look at, we used to have the ASEPA. We used to have the Oleala from the
sanitary inspectors.
Sanitary inspectors who were from the primary health institutions. They are no longer there. The ASEPAs are not coming to inspect the sanitary situation in the rural areas because they are not constitutional. The Wolala people, the primary health people, have been taken over by the state, and the local government they are supposed to be working for are no longer working. So I think the governor or the government of the state should look deep down. Even at the state government, if you go to the ministries, what the ministry workers do is to carry files about. All the contracts has been given away to the contractors. Even the people, the staff at the local ministries of the state government are not doing anything. If you go there, you see them laughing, doing nothing,
whiling away time,
waiting for the salary at the end of the month. That is not good. We want the present Governor Lesotho to look deep down and see what is happening. Don't let these contractors come to confuse you. Look at the heads of permanent secretaries you have appointed. Look at the directors you have appointed that are there. Bring them. Let them work directly under you. I have said it before that God is all-knowing, because the angels that monitor what we do are very, very sincere, loyal, and truthful.
Okay, talking about this local government issue, you know, when there's a present administration, when they were campaigning, they talked about this touting and talked about local government elections and so on. Instead of the local government election, what we now saw is what they call the mayors, which is still the same thing. It's just the same thing, irrespective of the name. They are still TC, they are not elected, and so on. Do you think this present administration is also toeing the way of the immediate past administration?
When this administration came in, everything about the last administration was put to a halt. New people came in and started condemning and begin to bring new formulas that were, especially in revenue, up to today. Do you know that the revenue of this state was held back for more than 4 months? No revenue was collected. They wanted to correct the ills of the past administration without going in to study what they did. Up to today, look at the tricycle. How the tricycle monies are being made, nobody knows. I don't think they have even started collecting revenue from the tricycles. Look at the colors we have put in place that was running. You can know, identify one tricycle from the other. They have all gone. Look at the vehicles. You cannot even know which vehicle is what. The revenues, you say stop touting, okay? But the revenues, the government is not making any revenue from them. The few that has been given resort to the same touting. Because at the past administration, at the end of the month, you pay the particular union that you belong. The union will go to the what do you call them? The revenue body, internal revenue, and pay. The alert will come to your phone, and you start dishing out receipts to the tricycle people. Before 10 o'clock, everybody has collected his phone, money, and go. What the people they called out then come to check is whether you paid or not. Not holding you to pay to individuals. No money entered into the individuals. They went into the market. All the market shops and stores were paid through e-system. Nobody comes to say pay and you pay or take or you take. No, what comes into your system is alert, that showing that the payment you have made has come in. Right now, they have gone back to those old systems where people are now asked to pay cash and they collect a receipt. My brother, before this administration, if not that God helped him, there are monies coming in. Loans are being taken to cover what he is doing. If it were for internally generated revenue, this government is suffering.
Yeah, back to that question is like you dodged it somehow. Do you think this administration is toeing the line? Because when they come in, the criticism on this past administration was so much. Now, do you think with what is happening now, the local government election is not conducted, and then the revenue touting is also increasing gradually? Do you think this present administration is toeing the legacy?
In the administration, we have not seen anything different.
Okay.
There's no difference between what TRG did what Okezi Bazu did and what Ojo Kano did from what Oti is doing. We have not seen any difference. In fact, Oti has gone back from Ibazu's administration, which had nearly perfected the e-system. I used to tell anybody, I don't care what you feel about what I am saying. I was part and parcel of the past administration in terms of being a party person. I knew what they were doing. We give some advices and they told it. What this administration has been advised to do is removing what the past administration had nearly perfected into a new experiment that I do not see how it can work. Let us go into transportation. Up till now, there is no transportation system that is working in Abia State. We had them said we now have one union. Nobody knows the name of that union. What the union is doing, nobody is sure of it. The colors of the tricycles has not up till now been unified, so that we know one tricycle that come from Obohi to the one at Osisioma. Before you can call the transport unions and they will tell you this tricycle is from Atrewa, and what you are complaining of, don't worry, we will call the number. They will call the number of the tricycle operator. He will call and say, do you know this person? This is what you have done. So those things that were in place, we are not saying it must be Atrewa or Satua or not. But if you say you are changing them, bring in place what will work. We say that we don't need the tricycle pits along the major roads. Remove them so that there will be flow of traffic. Up till now, they are still there. In fact, they are creating new pits everywhere. We are not saying you cannot ban keke.
Constituting nuisance.
Don't ban keke, because if you ban them, you can't find what they are eating. But control them. Show them where they will run, where the small vehicles will run. Because at least now the roads are being improved.
Okay, yes, shortly before we go, because our time is very up, what is your advice as an insider who has known this town very well, who had also been involved in one way or the other politically? What is your advice to the governor?
If the governor wants to make revenue, he should not trust his workers, staff alone. You should not trust the contractors at all. Establish street committees, village committees, who will give you information about what is going on in the areas. So if the local government is looking for their revenue in a particular street, it is the street committees that will inform you, these are the number of houses in our street. In fact, it is that street committee that will even look at the sanitary situation in the street. If you use task force, I do not know the number of task force that will stay on a street or an area in the whole day to monitor, to find out who pours dirt inside a gutter. It is the people in that street that will control the sanitary situation in the street, and we hold those who are defecating the streets. We hold those who are not able to pay their revenues, their levies. Because if the committee is from that street and they hold their meetings monthly, and it tells the government, it tells the people in that street or village or area the policies of the government, you will see that the government will come down to the grassroots.
All right, wonderful GS. That is the much we're going to take. And this is a very wonderful and good advice to our number one in Abia State, Dr. Alex Chioma OT. It is important to revive that third tier of government. The local governments are doing nothing even as we speak. Even the appointed mayors who are, from all indication, who are very busy men in their various fields of endeavor, are almost doing nothing. Most of the times you go to the local government, it looks like a ghost town because almost all their functions are taken away. And we believe with this program, our governor will do something about that. And having said that, this is where we're drawing the curtain today. Said Moses Obona, thank you for being part of today's program.
Thank you.
And this is the anchor man, Chinedum Godson Adiele. Until we come your way again, keep watching and listening to Living TV. Remember, you can always get us at your YouTube, Living Television. You see all we do. What we do on radio, you can watch on television, and what we do on television, you can listen to in your radio. That is why we are thick and different. Bye for now until we come your way again.